Welcome to Tea in Transit, Monday, October 30, 8:43 a.m. And I think this is the only recording that's going to be available for this transit, which is Sun in 28, Earth in 27. Because as you guys know, I had to destroy my hut this week where I have been making all of this content, and I do all of my calls and all of my work. And I'm currently speaking in you know, one or two notches below my normal speaking voice because my child is sleeping just through this wall. So this is a whole new chapter for me, and grateful to be on it, grateful to have what I do have, because not some people have less, some people have much less and are losing a lot more. And so for that, I'm grateful. So let's go 828. This is in the spleen, preponderance of the great, the game player, the transitoriness of power and influence. And so it's instead of recapping, I'm just gonna skip to the six, and then do maybe a little recap. So line 6 is the blaze of glory. Are you kidding me? A sacrifice rather than capitulation to the law of deterioration. Exaltation is regeneration and renewal, no matter what the price. The deep intuitive drive to win, no matter what the cost. Detriment is self-destruction. The deep intuitive fear of defeat, and a potentially profound hopelessness in times of struggle. What? How is this so accurate? I don't understand. How is this so accurate? That hits so hard. What is going on? Okay, so I mean, I think this is regeneration and renewal, the deep intuitive drive to win, no matter what the cost. So this is part of a channel, the channel of struggle, which connects to 38. And 38, as I understand it, is this pressure to define the value of life. And then 28, this gate, 28, preponderance of the great, the game player, is the awareness of which risks are worth taking or which risks are going to tell us how valuable life is. So this is the going out with the blaze of glory, the deep intuitive drive to win no matter what the cost, and the deep intuitive fear of defeat and potentially profound hopelessness in times of struggle. I'm going to go back into line 5 yesterday. Abuse of trust, the manipulation of the collective, that while pitting one faction against the other, does not directly support or reject either. The intuitive capacity of the game player to provoke struggle amongst others. Detriment is the breaking of alliances with trusted forces to align with more powerful forces, and its attendant destabilization of the whole. The intuitive recognition in times of struggle to know when alliances must be broken, and its destabling effects on others. Man, this is making me sad over here. I didn't necessarily break any bonds or anything like that. But this 28 is just like, wow. So line 1 is preparation. 2 is shaking hands with the devil. 3 is adventurism. 4 is holding on. 5 is treachery. And 6 is blaze of glory. This is... Okay, so I'm just going to start at line 1. Exaltation is the desire to be effective, manifested in the application of energy to detail, the intuition to potentially apply energy to detail. Detriment is the aesthetic appreciation of planning that may have no real application, an intuition for detail without the potential of application. So that's like surface level stuff versus utility, and the energy being directed towards it, investigating which is actually going to be useful and which is just going to be aesthetic. Line 2, shaking hands with the devil, distasteful alliance. A means, however unsavory, is justified by its end. When the game turns to a struggle, the intuitive acceptance of any alliance in order to win. So that's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Even though I don't like this guy, he is the enemy of my enemy. Detriment is the anxiety engendered by sacrificing higher principles when there is no guarantee of success. The risk in sacrificing principles when there is no guarantee of victory. So that's just like the, what do you call that? The hysteria of defeat, rather than the opening up and the acceptance of alliances that are maybe not perfect, but are alliances. Line 3 is adventurism, unfounded risk-taking, a basic conservatism that even in adventurous acts is necessarily prudent, and intuitive caution in risk-taking in times of struggle. Detriment, here a perverse manifestation of Jupiter's expansiveness, where risk is rationalized and failure ensured. Intuitive rationalizing of risk-taking in times of struggle. So that's intuitive understanding of the risk and which ones are you're not supposed to take or which ones cost too much, and the rationalizing of taking the risk anyway versus into following the intuition and exercising caution with that given risk. Line 4 is holding on, the ability through whatever means to keep one's grip, the application of knowledge to exploit opportunities, usually for the greater good, a depth of intuition at its best in struggle, and often of value to others. Detriment, application of intelligence to hold on exclusively out of self-interest, a depth of intuition that is stubbornly selfish in its capacity to hold on. Application of your intuition in struggle and being of value for others, in contrast with stubbornly selfish in its ability to hold on, which I definitely felt that a couple days ago. I was like, when we were tearing down the hut, I was like, oh, maybe I can like save some of this wood and can build another hut, but all the wood is terrible, so it's not going to happen. And I already read the other two, so that's gate 28 in a nutshell. Let's move to gate 27 now. So actually, real quick, with gate 28, right? A lot of risks being taken, a lot of risks not being taken out of fear, which I definitely feel that fear pretty online in terms of risking some of my savings and some of my investments in order to basically get myself a new office space, which would look like me investing in some kind of bus or a shed, something like that. I'm already feeling the constriction of like having to not be able to like be loud and laugh, which I love to be loud and laugh, as you guys know. Have to be like mellow, aware of the baby, all the kind things, you know. So I'm curious what's going to happen as this transits out, because, you know, I'm feeling a lot of this collective kind of fear and collective risk energy. And so being able to shift out of that and feel the contrast, I think for me is going to be helpful. I was thinking about yesterday about texting or creating some kind of campaign to allow some people to help. I just made a not so smart risky investment and now I'm paying for it, so I don't want to take any more. Exactly. Thanks for sharing, Cabrina. That's kind of where I'm at with it, where I'm like, because of the transit, I have an extra energy around risk. What is going to what is going to be the risk that's worth taking, right? Which for me, it's not even that much. It's like 10K for a bus. I mean, that's a particular bus that needs some work, but it's also like pretty far along. Um, and Yeah, so I thought about again putting a campaign out there and trying to raise some money for it, um, instead of like liquidating all my investments and taking into my savings because I'm like that risk. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. The world's also fucking crazy right now. So anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna wait until this transits, which let's see when it does. Does it shift? 13 hours. 13 hours we go into alertness and rationalizing. Great. Great. I have 38 in my personality, son. Uh-huh. So would you say, Genergy, that like having this 28 on is providing something different for you? Oh, look at Shaolin Luke. Aren't you supposed to be on a tour? It's only 8:54. Are you waiting for them? It's funny. Um, right on. So 13 hours till next transit, and let's go to gate 27 now. So instead of like doing 6 and then 5 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm just gonna go from 1 up to 6, and we'll talk about it. Definitely, I left the house to start car shopping today. Nice. What kind of car are you looking for? Okay, gate 27, nourishment, caring. This is in the sacral, reaching towards the spleen. The enhancement of the quality and the substance of all activities through caring. So this is like the softness that kind of balances out everything I just talked about. Okay, so starting at line 1, we have selfishness. Exaltation is the ego-driven first law of caring for oneself, which is not necessarily at the expense of others, the power to care for oneself first. Detriment is envy and its attendant misfortunes, the power of selfishness that is manifested through envy. So this is pretty simple. In order to help other people, you have to help yourself. To help somebody up, you kind of have to be above them. And this is the first law of caring for others, is to care for oneself, the power to care for oneself. And envy, jealousy, is wanting things that other people have. That's the detriment. Line 2, self-sufficiency, obvious law that to give one must have. No, say the mother, the great nourisher, the strength to nurture and the power to care. Detriment, the child depleting the resources of others, weakness that can sap the strength and power of others. This is just like a deeper oblivion in terms of when you take care of yourself, you're able to nourish others and you have the power to care. And when you could continuously taking, it's a weakness that saps the strength and the power of others. Standard transmission, 6-foot bed, all-wheel drive, maybe a Jeep truck. I hope you find it. It's funny, I have a Jeep sitting on my property right here. Not my property, but on the property here. It's not a truck, but it is a standard. And I think it's an all-wheel drive. Back to line 3 is greed. The obsession with having much more than one needs. Here, the psychological manifestation, the obsession and dependency on knowing what is hidden, the secret policeman, the power derived in having more than one needs, whether sexually, mentally, or materially. Detriment is mundane and wholly without redeeming value. Greed, a lust that inevitably cripples and addicts, the lust for power to get more than one needs. So this makes sense for me because, I have everything I really need. Like, what I've experienced with the hut in a lot of ways is a luxury. Um, I have shelter, I have food, I have water, I have a way to feed my family. I have a lot. Um, and the detriment would be the lust for power to get more than one needs, which I don't really need anything else. I want things. I feel like I could be with the hut. And also, that hut was like, it was a shanty hut. It was a wonderful hut, but it was a shanty hut. Shanty. Falling apart. And I'm grateful it didn't like fall apart on me, honestly. Um, the obsession with having much more than one needs, which there's power in having more than one needs, right? Um, and there's a lust to get more than one needs. Like there's a difference between having what you need and having more than what you need. You can be generous. But if you don't have, or you have, and you have this desire to get more than you need, that's detriment. Generosity, of course, the natural sharing of attained abundance. Exaltation is magnanimous and qualitative sharing, the gift of rewarding those who are deserving, the power and strength to share generously. And detriment is indiscriminate sharing, the potential loss of power and strength due to indiscriminate sharing. This is funny. I was working on farm, my friend's farm, and one of the girls working was like, I'm so excited to feed everybody. Aren't you excited to feed everybody? And I was like, not everybody. Everybody deserves to be fed. And that's exactly what this line is talking about. Indiscriminate sharing, not discriminating in the sharing. And a lot of people look at that negatively. Um, or they look at that positively, like, oh, you don't care who you share with. But there's people who will deplete resources. And if you share with them, they'll deplete resources to the point where nobody has any more resources. And that's something that, I'm doing my best to look at in my own life. Like, where am I um, like gluttonously or lustfully depleting resources? Thinking about it right now. I do pretty good. I could drink less bubble waters and eat out a little less and save up for my new office. All that. Yeah, I'm feeling that. Like I want to spend time with my family and love unconditionally, but I'm always drained after. So to find that balance is hard. It doesn't click in my brain. Yeah, we got the holiday seasons coming up. And so that's something that I think is really important to, at least for me to um, signal to everyone, like respect your family, love them, um, but you don't owe anybody anything. You know what I mean? Even your parents, like, especially if it's like draining for you. That's not something that to me I think is a worthy practice. Again, whatever we practice becomes permanent. Um, and so to practice to see people that are family, um, even though it's draining, that becomes permanent. That gets passed on to children. That creates more people pleasers and more homogenization. And one thing about loving unconditionally too is like sometimes in order to love somebody unconditionally, you have to have a certain proximity. You have to discriminate um, based off of your own health, how much energy you're willing to give to them, how much of your time you're willing to give to them. Because when you're too close to them, you're not able to love unconditionally. You think things like, oh man, you need to be more respectful of me. You need to be more kind and communicative to me. That's like forcing them into some kind of projection that you have on them versus being able to love unconditionally is being far enough away from the thing that you do not like or that does not resonate with you that you can say, I still genuinely love this person, who they are, and that also doesn't vibe with me. Like the two can exist at the same time. So, whatever that looks like for you, if it's like, going to Thanksgiving and only going for an hour, or only going for 15 minutes just to say hi and take pictures. Like, do that. Do that. You know, it's something that is, how you say, loving from afar before it gets triggering. Yeah, or like loving from afar because it is triggering, or loving from afar because that's the only place that you can actually source love from at this point with these people, right? Being close to them and connecting deeply inspire love in you. Okay. Unless you don't want to inspire love within yourself. All right. Line 5 is the executor, the ability to distribute effectively the resources of others, either the gifted or principled agent of distribution, or the good sense and ability to either. To find one, the power and strength to care for the resources of others. Detriment is a restrictive nature that hampers distribution or the seeking of advice and assistance. Weakness and the risk of loss of power restrict caring. Weakness and the risk of loss of power restrict caring. So again, this is all about caring and nourishment, right? And so we're looking at either the sensible distribution of resources as a point of them not necessarily being your resources, or the weakness, the risk of loss that restricts the power of caring. So the fear of losing the resources or access to the resources that discriminates who the resources go to, which is interesting. It's not necessarily a polarity of the last detriment, kind of like an advancement um, in understanding, like, the power and strength to care for the resources of others comes from knowing who deserves to have the resources. Who's actually hungry? They're the ones that get food. Who's actually thirsty? They're the ones that get water. Who actually needs a place to stay? They're the ones that get a place to stay. Everybody else, ultimately, you know, they are in a state of wanting, not necessarily of need. Those are two different things. So as it comes to caring, and we're looking at caring, right, again, material, having the resources directly related to caring and your ability to care for others. Not to say somebody with nothing can't care for others. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, and then line 6 is airiness, a protection against an abuse of generosity. And this is today, is a practical and realistic approach to nurturing whose appropriateness is guided by feelings and instinct, the power and strength to be realistic in one's capacities to care and nurture. Detriment, a tendency to over-suspicious, the power of suspicion in limiting the expression of caring. So wariness is either going to manifest as an attentiveness and alertness, which is what we're moving into this next transit, or it's going to be a psychosis or suspiciousness. And either way, we're looking at is the ability to be realistic in one's capacities to care and nurture. So we're looking at limiting the expression of caring based off of uh, the awareness, right? Like I've heard, like 27 connects to 50 cauldron, which this is the satisfaction that comes from caring and delivering care. And then 50 being the splenic awareness of, like, when enough is enough, or when you've taken on too much responsibility. That's truly sage cocoa. Yeah, sage coke. I'm like, what the whole porch is teaching me is if I just talk in like a more meditative, chill tone, that I'm wiser. I feel high right now. I'm not high, but I feel like my eyes feel high. Anyway, I lived that exact experience yesterday. Overly suspicious led me to close off and miss out on a good experience and cultivate care based on past experiences. Yeah. So one of the things that is continues to play a huge role in the tracking of these transits is I like to think of them like different dance partners or different sparring partners that come in every week that have a different style and that can teach me something about this gate. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to become a master of that style, more that I've been exposed to it and I'm not surprised by what's happening. Um, and my signature is surprise, which is I am not surprised that this is happening. Number one, I've known about my hut going to be demolished for months now. I just didn't know the date. Um, I knew I would put my stuff on the porch. I didn't realize it would be during such like a cathartic and polarized transit. However, we are in this perfect transit for all this to happen. Right? I'm asking myself the questions like, you know, what has my ability to play the game? What has been my experience with the transitoriness of power and influence? At the same time, asking, how am I enhancing the quality and the substance of all of my experiences and activities through caring, like in caring for myself and in caring for others? How am I enhancing the quality of life for myself? Which I already know. It's like I'm much closer to my family here, which makes me want to be closer with them, which is kind of interesting. And of course, it's like day one, so tomorrow might be the total opposite. I am a reflector after all. Um, and my gate of surrender is about to turn on with the 44 coming up next. So um, yeah, I think that's it for this transmission. Cabrina, thanks for relating your experiences. That's super helpful to hear what people are going through as these transits are active, and relating it to myself, which again has always been the intention of this server, was just to create a space where people can relate around human design. There's a lot of learning going on, um, and it's just a place to ultimately to relate to other human beings and to find common language and common experiences, and to build compassion through the ways that we're different, same as we build compassion through the ways that we are the same. So big love to you guys. What's coming up? Still working on the landing page or the checkout page for Live Your Design with myself and Life Force. That's going to be on January 22nd. That'll be coming soon, though. That's like my next priority. Basically, we're just going to be going through and going in on the centers. And so if you are excited about the centers or human design, centers in human design are probably, I would say, like the walls, if not the flooring. Foundation, of course, is strategy and authority, but once you understand the centers, a lot opens up. So this Live Your Design course is specifically about how to use the centers to track your not self and step more into your signature, how to actually live your design. That you can find that, click my profile, marco.com. The links in there, and there's a place where you can just register and give us your email. And what else I want to say? Oh, yeah, if you have the desire to contribute to the server, um, that would be a server subscription. We have a $5 and a $20 tier, which we've got Holographic Bagel is one, Soul Prospering is another, Jude's is another. And this is just, we have a secret chat. I give some discounts and stuff, but it's more so just a way for people to, contribute back to the server. A lot of it goes back to the moderators just for doing their thing. And but yeah, we have all the secrets in the server. 11 out of 10. You also get your name turns pink, and you get that cool badge by your name, which is awesome. And of course, you have my eternal gratitude. if that's the case. I would also recommend not doing it on an iPhone because iPhone charges like an extra 30%. So if you could do it on a desktop or a laptop, that's better. And then I think it gives you access through the Discord app. Maybe, I don't know that for sure, but anyway, big love to you guys. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, we'll see you hopefully tomorrow. Could like to start to get back into a regular situation with this. Love you, Bagel. Love you, Judes. Love all you guys. Catch you later. Peace.